PGA Tour in chaos. Rory McIlroy just dropped a 24 hours ultimatum on Brian Rolapp, and the CEO has absolutely no good options left. None. Zero. Zilch. The six-time major winner, the face of the tour, the guy who stayed loyal through all the LIV drama, just put the CEO in a corner, and we're about to break down everything. This isn't about lawsuits anymore. This isn't about Saudi money. This is about the biggest star on the tour telling the boss, fix this mess in 24 hours or watch me walk. And Rolapp has nowhere to go. Here's what triggered all of this. Rory has been playing a lighter schedule this year, way lighter. He's on track for just 14 PGA Tour events in 2026, one fewer than the 15 required to keep full membership benefits. He skipped signature events. He skipped the Travelers Championship. He's been spending more time with family and focusing on the majors. And Rolapp, he's been publicly dismissing Rory's concerns for months. When Rory called the proposed Track 2 events glorified Corn Ferry events, Rolapp fired back. When Rory said the schedule was fragmented and confusing, Rolapp said he didn't understand the big picture. When Rory said the Canadian Open shouldn't be relegated to a second-tier event, Rolapp ignored him. But now Rory has drawn a line in the sand. 24 hours. That's all Rolapp gets to fix this mess. And the clock is ticking. Let's go back to the beginning of this war. Rory McIlroy has been the PGA Tour's biggest defender. Through all the LEV drama, through all the Saudi money, through all the defections, Rory stood firm. He called LIV a money grab. He said the Saudi League was bad for golf. He was the face of the resistance. I hate what it's done to the game of golf. I hate it. I really do, McIlroy said following the Tour Championship. It's going to be hard for me to stomach going to Wentworth in a couple weeks' time and seeing 18 of them there. It just doesn't sit right with me. He even served on the policy board, gave up countless hours, sacrificed time with family, all to protect the tour he loved. But the board meetings were brutal. 7-hour sessions, heated arguments, feeling like a sacrificial lamb when the tour secretly cut a deal with the Saudis without telling him. In 2023, he resigned from the policy board. Something had to give, McIlroy said. There are only so many hours in a day and only so many days in a week. He said he needed to focus on being a world-class golfer, a good husband, and a good father. He was burned out, battle-fatigued. But even after stepping down, Rory stayed loyal, kept defending the tour, kept playing, kept trying to make it work. Until now. Now something's changed. Rory has had enough. He's watching Rolapp dismantle everything that made the tour great, and he's decided to fight back. The breaking point came when Rolapp announced his big plans for 2028. A 2-track system, Championship Series and Challenger Series, promotion and relegation. Top players banned from playing in second-tier events. Rory saw this and immediately recognized the problem. Events like the Canadian Open, events with history, events with tradition, events that fans love, they were being pushed down to the second tier. An event like last week, the Canadian Open. Potentially going to one of these Track 2s, Track 2 is a glorified Corn Ferry event. That's what Track 2 is going to be, McIlroy said at the U.S. Open. So I don't think the Canadian Open should be one of those. He didn't stop there. I just think there's going to be certain events that might lose their stature if a sponsor doesn't pony up $30 million. So that's the tough thing, he added. And then he dropped the hammer on the whole LIV era experiment. Yeah, it's funny. Like, I think as they've done all this work, you start to realize that the way the tour was before LIV came along was actually pretty good. It was a pretty good structure, and everything sort of worked pretty well, he said. LIV created this false economy where we had to upprize funds and had to cut fields and try to support the top players and all that stuff, which I think needed to happen because that was the only way to retain talent at the time. But now that LIV looks like it's less of a threat, I think, as I said, the old ways of the PGA Tour weren't so bad. Rolapp responded by publicly dismissing Rory's concerns. I had a chance to speak with Rory today, Rolapp said at a press conference. I think the best way to think about what we're doing here is that right now we have 47 events at the PGA Tour. We'll have 47 events going forward. That current model serves roughly 230 players. We'll serve that amount of players the same. We think we've just organized the same tour into a much more interesting and competitive system. That's when Rory issued the ultimatum. 24 hours to fix this mess, or else. What's in the ultimatum? 3 demands. First, scrap the 2-track system. Keep all events meaningful. Don't relegate historic tournaments to second-class status. Second, fix the FedEx Cup playoffs. The current format is a joke. Rory has been saying this for months. Third, give players a real voice in decision-making, not just a seat at the table. Real power, real input. Rory explained his frustration with the playoffs perfectly. I just need to be in the top 30 going in there to have a chance to win a FedEx Cup, McIlroy said after the Open. So why would I care about the first 2 playoff tournaments? He admitted, I sort of came to that decision last year, and I'm just sort of doing the same thing. He's got a point. Under the current system, the Tour Championship is all that matters. The first 2 playoff events are meaningless, and Rory isn't the only one who thinks so. If Rolapp doesn't agree within 24 hours, Rory walks. He cuts his schedule even further, maybe doesn't play the playoffs at all, maybe skips more signature events, maybe leaves the tour entirely. Rolapp is cornered. Let's look at his options. None of them are good. Option 1, give in to Rory's demands. Scrap the 2-track system, fix the playoffs, give players more power. But that makes Rolapp look weak. He's the CEO. He's supposed to be in charge. If he caves to one player, what stops everyone else from making demands? The LIV players are watching. The other tour players are watching. If Rolapp folds, he loses all authority. Option 2, refuse Rory's demands. Let him walk. Call his bluff. But if Rory actually cuts his schedule or leaves, the tour is in big trouble. He's the biggest star, a ratings draw, a fan favorite. If Rory goes, sponsors get nervous. TV ratings drop, the product suffers, and the LIV players use the chaos to negotiate better terms. Option 3, try to negotiate. Offer Rory some concessions, maybe tweak the 2-track system, maybe promise to look at the playoffs. But don't give him everything. Try to find a middle ground. But Rory's ultimatum is 24 hours. No room for drawn-out negotiations, and if Rolapp offers too little, Rory rejects it anyway. No good options. Rolapp is trapped, and here's the thing. Rory has leverage, major leverage. He just won the Masters for the 2nd consecutive year. Only the 4th player in history to do that. He's the world number 2. He's the face of the tour, and he's not afraid to use his power. But Rory has also been inconsistent. Earlier this year, he actually issued a statement supporting Rolapp's new structure. That didn't last long. Now he's back to criticizing, and Rolapp doesn't know which Rory he's going to get. Rory also has the support of other players. Many of them are tired of Rolapp's arrogance, tired of decisions made without consultation, tired of being told to shut up and play golf. They're watching this showdown closely. If Rory wins, they might start speaking out too. If Rory loses, they stay quiet and resentful. Either way, Rolapp loses. And let's not forget the LIV factor. The 47 players who left for Saudi money are watching all of this. They're loving every minute of it. Rory versus Rolapp weakens the tour, exposes fractures, shows the players aren't united, and that gives the LIV players leverage. Rolapp has admitted as much. He said on the Pat McAfee show that LIV has done for golf what the AFL did for the NFL. Whenever you get competition, you end up figuring out what you do well and what you don't do well, but that competition is now a threat, and Rory is using it to his advantage. Meanwhile, the fans are turning on Rory. After his comments about not caring about the playoffs, social media erupted. One fan hit McIlroy with a harsh slam. Giving a shit about Rory isn't a priority at the moment. Another equally torched, the Northern Irishman. I'm a Rory fan, but this is still a shitty attitude. It wasn't long ago he was talking about the tour needing to get the top players playing more events together for the fans and the good of the game. Another questioned whether McIlroy's previous stance only applied when it suited him. So the PGA is only righteous when it fits his needs. The so-called good of the game and fans are irrelevant. The irony is thick. Rory spent years defending the tour, calling for the best players to compete more often. Now he's openly admitting he doesn't care about the first 2 playoff events. It's a complete reversal, and the fans aren't buying it. But Rory's honesty is refreshing too. He's not pretending. He's telling the truth about how he feels. There's been years where I've given the PGA Tour maybe more of my attention, and years that I haven't. Yeah, I guess I'm just at a stage that I have other things that I prioritize. He's been on tour longer than half his life. He's earned the right to pick and choose his spots. I'll pick and choose my spots like I have been doing sort of the last 18 months to 2 years, he said. Does it mean it makes it harder for myself to win the FedEx Cup or whatever the season-long title race is going to be called? Absolutely, but I'm okay with that because it brings balance to my life and lets me enjoy things outside of the game. And what about the minimum event requirement? Rory isn't worried. The PGA Tour and I are in constant dialogue. I speak to Brian Rolapp and his team a lot. Not just about that, but about everything else. We'll figure it out. I made them aware that this could happen at the end of last year. They know. But here's the problem. If Rolapp makes an exception for Rory, what stops everyone else from asking for exceptions? If the rules don't apply to the biggest star, why should they apply to anyone else? It's a slippery slope, and Rolapp knows it. Rolapp is running out of time. Rory's ultimatum is ticking. The players are watching. The LIV players are circling, and the fans are losing patience. What happens when the face of the tour takes on the man running it? Does Rolapp back down? Does Rory push forward? Does this get settled quietly or blow up into something even uglier? So where does all this leave us? The PGA Tour is in chaos. Rory McIlroy's ultimatum has Brian Rolapp cornered, and nobody knows what happens next. Will Rolapp give in to Rory's demands? Will Rory walk away? Will the LIV players use this chaos to their advantage? Will the tour survive this crisis? These questions have no answers yet. But one thing's certain, the next few hours will determine the future of professional golf. If Rolapp and Rory can find common ground, the tour might emerge stronger. If they can't, the damage could be permanent. The LIV players are waiting in the wings. The fans are watching closely. The sponsors are getting nervous. And the CEO is fighting with his biggest star. This is the moment of truth for the PGA Tour. Either it figures out how to unite its leadership and its players, or it falls apart from the inside. No pressure, right? Rolapp's clock is ticking. Rory's deadline is approaching, and the golf world is holding its breath. The next few days will tell us everything. The golf world is watching, because right now, the biggest threat to the PGA Tour isn't LIV golf. It isn't the Saudis. It's the war inside its own house. And that war just got very, very personal.